My household has had Spectrum internet for several years, and we had Spectrum cable for many, many years, even way before it was known as Spectrum, back when it was Time Warner. It wasn't until a few years ago we finally got rid of all of the cable boxes in our house. Because none of us were watching cable anymore at that point, and we hardly used the boxes because, we're in the 2020s and who the fuck watches cable anymore. So when it comes to live TV, we have a Spectrum app now that I personally don't use because I just watch streaming services. I'm not a fan of live TV. And like I said, we also have Spectrum internet. And it fucking sucks. For the last week and a half or so, it has been especially awful. There have been several internet outages that have occurred, and I don't know why, and they have lasted for hours at a time. And this especially sucks for my uncle because when the pandemic hit, his job transitioned to online, and 5 years later, he is still allowed to work from home. Every time there is an outage, he gets a text from Spectrum because he's the one in the household who pays for the internet, saying something along the lines of, "There is an outage in your area, we apologize for the inconvenience." Yeah, I would say constant internet outages that last for hours at a time are a little bit more than minor, annoying inconveniences for him when he literally can't work his fucking job because you provide such shitty and unreliable internet. And here's the thing, even prior to these constant internet outages, at best, Spectrum internet is inconsistent as hell. At least in my experience, but I've seen this sentiment echoed elsewhere. There are plenty of days where the internet is working as it should, it's fast, efficient, but then there are other days where the internet is laggy as fuck, and for no good reason either. There's no outages reported, we reset the router and that does the trick sometimes, but there are other times where that does fuck all, and the internet is still awful after. And what especially pisses me off is just a few months ago, we got a new router, and we were told it is one of the best Spectrum has to provide. 5G lightning fast internet, incredibly reliable, and on top of that, it's a free upgrade. So when that was pitched to my uncle, he was like, I get to keep the same plan, but get a free router that's even better than the one we already have? No brainer. So we got the router within a few days. It looks like a fucking air freshener, and honestly, I can't even tell you the difference between the speed of this router versus the previous router we had. The router we had before this one was 4G, this one is 5G, and honestly, the hype surrounding 5G just reeks of marketing bullshit to me. I'm sure any tech nerd could argue, oh yeah, there's a substantial difference between 5G and 4G, and maybe there is, but to someone like me who is extremely casual when it comes to tech, I'm like, I don't know, my 4G router was already fast enough. Maybe this one is faster, I don't fucking know. It's not so lightning fast that I notice a difference. But this router, despite being supposedly top of the line, is so much more unstable than the previous one was. Like I said, the internet has been slow and laggy on several occasions, and resetting the router most of the time does nothing. Our devices constantly get knocked off the internet, like my PS5, for whatever fucking reason, really hates this new router we got. There have been so many times I turn on my PS5 and then it says, can't connect to the internet, and then I spend like 10 minutes trying to get the PS5 to connect to the internet, and then out of nowhere it decides to connect to the internet because I guess it just feels like it. Our TV in the living room also gets constantly knocked off the internet. My uncle uses that TV the most, so that especially annoys him. This wasn't as much of an issue with our previous disgusting 4G router that apparently is so inferior to the one we have now. I mean, yeah, sure, every once in a while devices did get knocked off the Wi-Fi with the previous router, but this has been a constant issue with the router we have now, which again we were told is supposedly so much better than what we already had. Huh? An evil corporation lying to its customers? Unheard of. Anyway, fuck Spectrum and fuck pretty much every other major ISP while we're at it. You'd be hard-pressed to not find a mountain's worth of horror stories regarding every other major ISP. Before Spectrum Internet, over 10 years ago, we had Verizon, and somehow Verizon's internet was even fucking worse than what we have now. You couldn't even so much as watch a YouTube video that was only a few minutes in length without several minutes worth of buffering. It was so awful. And that's what made us make the jump to Spectrum Internet, which again was still Time Warner at the time. So I guess thank you, Spectrum, for the slightly less painful experience, but even still, you fucking suck. This video was cathartic. The internet has actually been perfectly fine today, but I know, unfortunately, there will still be plenty of days ahead where the internet will be less than fine, to put it lightly. First world problems, I know. That's all I have to say. Bye bye.